Eastern
Chat.
Europe.
We got Western Europe. Western/Eastern Europe divide doesn't make any sense. Original link is down in the description.
Synonymous with
Let's check it
culture,
out.
industry, great architecture, high quality of life, clean cities, history's greatest empire.
Let's see why it doesn't make sense.
Who sought to conquer the entire world. And finally, a place where men get beat by their wives. Eastern Europe, known for its poverty, alcoholic citizens, corruption, crime. Everything is grey.
Eastern Europe is never gonna beat the alcoholic allegations. Never.
Alcoholic citizens, corruption, crime. Everything is grey. From the snow to the buildings to the sky.
Eastern Europeans just love to drink, okay?
I'm sure most of you guys are well aware with the concept of the two sides of Europe. Although I've got to say, son, this divide is utter woke nonsense. I mean, think about it. How much in common does Spain have with England or Germany? I mean, they all choose Spain for their holidays.
The English people love going to Spain, huh? The thing is, it's because the tickets are so cheap and they're like £10.
Other than that though, not so much. Most Spaniards will say their friend group is the rest of Southern Europe, aka pigs. On the other side of the world though, how much in common does Estonia, Poland and Albania have? All three speak nonsense languages that none of the neighbors can even remotely understand, and all three will fiercely deny the Eastern European allegations. You can't call a Polish person Eastern European, that's like the N-word for them. Yeah, you know, I guess throwing a line to divide the continent into two pieces sounds good on paper.
Right.
It's not that simple though, and it leads to a whole lot of issues, as people take geographic liberties.
What the fuck is this?
I never see said line go through the center of Europe, so
Yeah, have you ever seen that line that like divides the Polish like it's like a line. You know? I can't explain. It's like
center of Europe. So since
it actually shows a lot. It's where like Prussia was or whatever, right? Like this was like Prussia and then this was like
the center of Europe. So since all of you map creators are smoking
I don't know what I'm yapping
with
about.
my own map of Europe. Here's how we divide it. Portugal, in literally every data map, has the same shade as a lot of Eastern European
Chat, this is so cool. Actually, the CSGO map. This is so cool. There's so many Portuguese people playing CS. It's actually so cool. And they're like the Portuguese people are more Eastern European. No, also they're the gasoline average salary, yeah.
countries. And since it is in the westernmost tip of the continent, we come
It's so interesting.
to the logical conclusion that everything is Eastern Europe. Cry about it. I'm only joking, of course.
Why don't we just keep it that way?
Or am I?
Well, maybe.
To more accurately divide
Maybe.
the old continent,
Maybe that's the bad
usually
idea.
don't just have east and west, but also north and south. Sometimes
Yeah.
you'll even see Central Europe, which is a thing, apparently, at least according to polls today and the German nationalists 100 years ago. We can make things even more complicated by adding subdivisions, like the British Isles, the Balkans, the Baltics, the Caucasus. And yet, no matter how you divide Europe, you will still eventually end up with the same problem. How do we even define where a country belongs to?
Why
Take
we don't
France, for
just
example.
don't divide them?
Most would call it Western European, yet it has a warm Mediterranean coast on the south. People there are too busy Euromaxing to get a job. Sounds pretty Southern European to me. Another example, Romania. Is it Eastern European or is it Balkan? Oh, it's Central European, oh okay. I mean, if you look at it regionally, you may get quite different answers for one reason or another. In the Baltics, Estonia is culturally and linguistically closer to Finland than the other two Baltic nations. Finally, the funny zone is arguably the most guilty of this identity crisis. Greece. Is it Southern European or Balkan? I mean, it is in the Balkan Peninsula, but the Greeks created the Western civilization or something, so they will tell you we're not savages like them, Balkans are up there. Then you go up and suddenly hit Slovenia, and they're like, boy, we're rich, we're not Balkan, we're Central European. But then you Google, where is the center of Europe? And apparently it's in Lithuania.
What? I thought it was in Poland. I swear, I bet every country, I bet Germany has a monument as well, saying it's
There is
in...
even a monument there, as well as in Ukraine, Belarus,
Yeah,
Slovakia,
yeah.
and Poland,
Yeah,
all claiming
yeah.
the same thing, that they are the geographic midpoint of Europe. This brings us to an even bigger issue. What the fuck even is Europe? Because when I was like 10 years old, I learned that continents are large landmasses separated by oceans. Yet in Europe I see the Atlantic on the west, but on the east I see ocean way over there. So if you want to get technical about it, Europe isn't even real, it's Eurasia. Both continents even share the same tectonic plate. Yet traditionally the border between the two roughly follows the Ural Mountains, river and the Caspian Sea. So by definition the land between this line and the Atlantic is Europa, including the British Isles who actually were once connected to mainland Europe. Although there lives a bunch of countries that geographically may not be European, but historically, culturally and politically are tied to it. Might as well add Israel and Australia because they're in Eurovision. Maybe we are tied to it. Might as well add Israel and Australia because they're in Eurovision. Maybe we should add overseas territories as well. Can you see the root of the issue? If there is no proper definition of what Europe even is, how do we divide it to 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 or even more pieces? Well, obviously we don't just use geography, but other factors as well. In the case of Western and Eastern Europe, history, politics and economy. These three beautiful walls have led many chronically online people to believe that the former East Bloc is essentially Mordor with traditional values. I think we all know why those quote-unquote Eastern Europeans avoid using this term for the country like it's the plague. There's just a certain stigma tied to it. It largely stems from the Cold War era, a period where a clear line was established between West and East. The capitalist NATO-aligned countries on the west and the communist
that's kinda like the
Eastern Bloc
divide.
on the east. This division is the reason why, for example, Finland, despite literally bordering Russia, is almost never included into Eastern Europe. And Turkey is included into Western Europe in the democracy index, despite barely even being European. Ain't that something? Anyways, in a lot of these former East Bloc countries, the communist era is not remembered very fondly, to say the least. Especially the immediate aftermath of the Iron Curtain falling. A whole bunch of countries became independent and had to essentially rewire their economies, switching from planned economies to market economies, all while competing on the global stage with countries that were very familiar with this capitalism thing. It was a recipe for disaster. Widespread poverty, unemployment and wars led a lot of people to immigrate to the West for better living conditions, where they were met with a little bit of prejudice, just a tiny bit. This prejudice has largely faded over the years, but not completely. After all, more than 40% of the global population was alive during the Cold War, so it needs a bit more time. While the stigma is tied to the Cold War, it did not start from it. The idea of a Western and Eastern Europe started during the Enlightenment. Think about the period. On one side we had global superpowers, and on the other side, countries that were struggling to even exist. This environment led a lot of philosophers of the time, like Voltaire, to unironically believe what I said on the start of the video. Paris, the bastion of culture.
Le baguette.
Minsk? Bro, that's literally Necravol from Doom Eternal. If you want to go even further back, the first East-West division was the Great Schism. I mean, at least back then it made sense. Europe wasn't nearly as interconnected as it is today. Ever since the eastward expansion of the EU in 2004, the continent has arguably become more united than ever. I mean, it's in the name. Who would have guessed? And yeah, you could argue that the East is still less developed and poorer than the West, but the gap is not as big as it used to be, and it's getting smaller. So now one could argue that Eastern Europe doesn't start here, but here, where the ops are. I guess that's one way to look at it. I mean, at the end of the day, to solve this weird European puzzle, you need to take into account like a billion parameters, which means we are never going to agree on anything. You can take climate for consideration. Most think north, cold, south, hot. It's true for the most part, but it's not as simple as that. It's actually very complicated. Time zones. Somehow Poland and Spain have the exact same time, despite Spain being on the exact same parallel as England. I mean, there's probably a logical answer to this, but I don't feel like looking it up right now. In terms of language, there are three distinct big groups. I guess we could divide the continent to three then, and pretend the languages not on these groups don't exist. Or we could just civilize all these barbarians, like my inner Roman is telling me. Lastly, we could just use simple, pure geography. You can see a clear divide between the rugged mountainous south and the flat north. Explains why countries like Poland were the historical equivalent of a doormat. A notable exception seems to be Hungary, which despite being surrounded by mountains is quite flat, just like the ancestral homeland. What a weird nation. Speaks a language completely unrelated to its neighbors. Voted a guy called Peter Hungarian as the next prime minister. Did Kojima write this? I don't know, man. Keep looking for answers, but get more questions instead. To conclude, can we accurately divide Europe into several pieces? And is this East-West thing even real? Bro, are you dumb? Have you not been paying attention? That's an O times 2. Funnily enough, my most viewed video is still that meme I made that makes fun of this exact concept. Who cares where your country lands on some arbitrary map a so-called expert made? It doesn't affect your life in the slightest. Oh, I'm not
Yeah.
Eastern European, I'm South Central European with Eastern tendencies.
Mate, what's that?
The thing is, people, you know, take the Eastern, Western European thing as like their identities, right? Something that they can connect to. That's why they're so like vocal and adamant about
And
it.
I'm South Central European with Eastern tendencies.
Mate, what the actual fuck are you talking about?
Who cares? No one cares. This is such a chronically online issue. So please stop with the mental gymnastics. Either double down and embrace it, or don't think about it at all and move on. It's as simple as that. Think about it this way. If you're from Bosnia, for example, it doesn't make you inferior or less European than somebody from Belgium. Both of you are jobless fat bums watching somebody yap for 10 minutes. Go take
Wait, actually true.
a shower.
Yeah, that was an awesome video. I'm gonna link it down.